ending quartet. In 2012, they were the Senior Pioneer District Champions, and Don and Dean and Dorm were the formerly, back in 1974, the Pioneer District Champion Quartet. They're celebrating 50 years of membership in the Barbershop Harmony Society, formerly, for those of you that love acronyms, get this one, SPEGSQSA, or, and I think probably you know, Society for the Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet Singing. Ladies and gentlemen, Don and the group, come on.
Hi neighbor, what do you know and what do you say? Hi neighbor, throw all your worries away. We're here to entertain you in that barbershop style. So throw your cares and troubles aside for a while. We're singing, hi neighbor, my neighbor. Now's the time to say hi. Now's the time to say hi. We say hi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce our makeshift quartet here. I'd like to start out by introducing our suave, sophisticated baritone, Ben Jerzik. And our, did I say Slav? No, I didn't say Slav. Our bass singer tonight is Dorn Burrell. I'm sure a lot of you know Dorn. I'm Randy Campbell. I pretend to sing lead. And the last two members I know all of you know well, and that's not a Christmas carol either. They're a couple of fantastic musical singers. Dean Burrell singing tenor, and Don Burrell singing bass whenever we let him. We are very pleased to be here and entertain you folks with 3 or 4 other songs coming up. But congratulations to all of you for 60 years of postgraduate learning and thinking. So bear with us and we'll show you a good time.
Good.
Which one's the next?
Chances are, 'cause I wear a silly grin the moment you come into view. Chances are you think that I'm in love with you. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Just because my composure sort of slips the moment that your lips meet mine. Chances are you think my heart's your Valentine. In the magic of moonlight, when I sigh, hold me close, dear. Chances are you'll believe the scars that fill the skies are in my eyes. Guess you feel you'll always be the one and only one for me. And if you think you could, well, chances are your chances are awfully good. The chances are your chances are awfully good.
is for all of you.
It's a time for joy, a time for tears, a time we'll treasure through the years. We'll remember always graduation day. At the senior prom we danced till 3, and then you gave your heart to me. We'll remember always graduation day. Though we leave in sorrow all the joys we've known, we can face tomorrow knowing we'll never walk alone. When the ivy walls are far behind, no matter where our paths may wind, we'll remember always graduation day. Though we leave in sorrow all the joys we've known, we can face tomorrow knowing we'll never walk alone. When the ivy walls are far behind, no matter where our paths may wind, we'll remember always, always graduation day. We'll remember always graduation day.
Our next number may bring back a few memories. I don't know if you recognize it, but have you heard it? I think you will.
Old bones inside an old raincoat, old bones inside of old shoes. Old friends from their hotel stop by to wish me well and keep me up to date on all the old news. All the news. Sometimes I have a hot toddy, just one, and fall asleep inside an old chair. I dream that I'm a man much younger than I am. I bet by now you think I simply don't care.
Doesn't care.
But I love life, I like to do it again. Though I might not know you much more than I've ever been. Just to have the chance to turn back the hands and let my life begin. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I like to do it again. It's time for taking it easy. It's time for taking it slow. Old bones don't move so fast like they did once in the past. Now if I have to run, I simply don't go. But I love life, I like to do it again. Though I might not be much more than I've ever been. Just just to have the chance to turn back the hands and let my life begin. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I'd like to do it again. Do it one more time. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
We'll let them do it again.
They're gonna let me do it one more time.
Our next song is your favorite song. It's our last song. We're all five going to join up on this one, and it's kind of a sentimental song. It's called From the First Hello to the Last Goodbye.
Our song was a song of tomorrow. Our hearts were as high as the sky. But songs are forgotten and skies often gray. Nevertheless, there is this I can say. From the first hello to the last goodbye, it's been awfully nice to know you. So excuse the parting sigh, and I'll watch you go with my head held high.
You've been
Dear and sweet, a pleasure to me, a special treat, say I. From the first hello to the last, to the last goodbye.
We've got a special thing for you right now. And one of them is going to leave. There's a new act out here at the Firegivers that's going to be here tonight. It's some kid by the name of Paul Anka. Is that what it is? He's got tickets to go see Paul Anka, and so he's meeting a history retreat. So that's why. Now you see why they get to add the fourth one here. But think back for us. We've got a special thing for you. Think back to when we started. We're here representing our 60th reunion. But in fact, we've been together a lot longer than that. Many in this room, in fact, have been together 73 years because we started as kindergartners. And we started as kindergartners in 1944. Think about what that means. In 1944, we were in a world at war all across the globe. We, in fact, were the products of the great generation that have now been heralded across through. Many of our members have been part of the armed services, and I mean both males and females and service and all of the other kinds of things that have gone on. And so it's been a very special blessing for us as we've progressed over these years together. In fact, I laughingly said all of us have been some 73 years, with one exception. The twins have been together for a little bit longer than that. including the 20-minute difference between the two. But right now, what we'd like to do is, in recognition of that special blessing that we've all been through, Mary Jo B.C.H.S is going to come up and do a presentation for us, and then our group is going to lead us in another follow. Mary Jo?
The time was 1940. America was still in a terrible economic depression. Hitler was taking over Europe, and Americans were afraid we'd have to go to war. It was a time of hardship and worry for most Americans. This was the era just before TV, when radio shows were huge and American families sat around their radios in the evenings listening to their favorite entertainers. And no entertainer of that era was bigger than Kate Smith. Kate was also large, plus size, as we now say. And the popular phrase still used today is in deference to her. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. Kate was also patriotic. It hurt her to see Americans so depressed and afraid of what the next day would bring. She had hope for America and faith in her fellow Americans. She wanted to do something to cheer them up, so she went to the famous American songwriter Irving Berlin and asked him to write a song that would make Americans feel good again about their country. When she described what she was looking for, he said he had just the song for her. He went to his files and found a song that he had written but never published 22 years before, way back in 1917. He gave it to her and she worked on it with her studio orchestra. She and Irving Berlin were not sure how the song would be received by the public, but both agreed they would not take any profits at all from God Bless America. Any profits would go to the Boy Scouts of America. Over the years, the Boy Scouts have received millions of dollars in royalties from that song. To this day, God Bless America stirs our patriotic feelings and pride in our country. Back in 1940, when Kate Smith went looking for a song to raise the spirits of her fellow Americans, I doubt whether she realized just how successful the results would be for her fellow Americans during those years of hardship and worry, and for many generations of Americans to follow. Now you know the story of the song. I hope you'll enjoy it. Many people don't know there's a lead into the song since it usually starts with God Bless America. So here's the song now. Please join us singing it.
Stand if you want to, it's up to you. No. They do the intro? Yeah, I thought all the storm clouds gathered, but I don't have it.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair, as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless us.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks. Thanks again. Another round for Dean and Don. Thanks very much. Into some of the fun kinds of things, and we're going to do some surprises,
Louder.
and a little bit of magic. Let's first of all catch up on some statistics. We did that special thing that you just saw, and of course it's been part of the planning committee for some time, but remember the significance of it. Last Monday, of course, was the anniversary of 16 years ago, an event that changed all our lives. If you think I'm kidding you, the next time you go through an airport, think exactly what I'm talking about. And of course, our generation before our parents had given the supreme sacrifice, 440,000 of them in the Second World War. We've been, some of us, we've lost a few of ours in situations in Vietnam and of course, Iraq, and some of our families in Afghanistan and so forth are now there. I have a grandson that has been involved, and I know several of you are the same thing. So that was a very special part for us. But the whole aspect of some of the statistics for us, let's take a look at our class, as I said. Our statistics show that right now we're at 181 of our members have passed, 37+%. 177 of you have active emails, and as you signed in, if you are here and you are one that has one and has not, please give it to us so we have it for our records. And we have another 129 with U.S. mail addresses, but some of those, in fact, are lost. So if, in fact, you come across any of our members. But the thing that's interesting, that gives us a total of 487. For those of you that went on the tour today of the high school, and you've heard the presentations now about how many people actually attend the high school, there are now, from the statements that they made to us today, approximately 1,200. But it's not the same high school than when we went to. 800 to 900 of those students are ninth graders. That means that in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, there are fewer students than were in our class. So think of the change that's gone on at Battle Creek Central High School. In the context of now how it was presented to us today, the 4 school districts and how they fit together and how the community has to deal with that in the change of not only the change of tax dollars, but change of students who now have the opportunity to move from school to school. And you see how blessed we really are in terms of the aspects of all of the things that we had and we all took for granted, many of us. One of the things that many of us did, of course, we went on from here, not only in terms of high school, but some of us went to college, some of us went to training, some of us went to military, and all the other kinds of processes. And as we got going in our lives, we ran into a gentleman that none of us had heard before, but maybe you might remember. Who knows who Robert Fulghum was? Think back. Robert Fulghum told us something that we now know very much a part of our lives. All I ever really needed to know, I learned in kindergarten. Right. What did we learn in kindergarten? Well, we learned to share. We learned to play fair. We learned to hold hands. And more importantly, we learned to stick together. We are a prime example of what it's like to stick together. Here we are, learning and loving it back and forth, 60+ years in the mark and on our own to go forward. I told you when we would start that we were going to honor some special people, but all of you are that, special people. But 9 of our members of our class now have been enshrined in the high school's Hall of Fame. That is the largest number from any one class in the history. Well, I will tell you very candidly that each of you has a wonderful story that's worthy of that hall. Gordon has been honored. Pete Schweitzer has been honored. David Wilkins was honored. Tom Davidson, Bill Pinko, Bob Wolf, who is here, of course, Lou Belcher, and Meade Killian, who also is here. So these are people that have all been enshrined in that Hall of Fame, and they're very special, and I think we should be very proud of that. I also told you that we would talk a little bit about some magic, and I'll tell you one story about somebody that's here in this room. Back, and John Doty and I, before tonight's dinner, we were talking about some of the things that we did. John and I were able to go through elementary together at Ann J. Kellogg, and in the 6th grade, there was a program in Battle Creek many of you may have been part of. It was called Children's Theater. Anybody remember Children's Theater? And they did plays. Well, when we were in 6th grade, there was in fact a play, and there were auditions held from all over the city, and the auditions were held at Ann J. And we got through, we got down to the lead part, and they went through all the things, and there were 2 people that were to be considered for the lead part. Both of them here in this room today. And it was a magic process because they analyzed it back and forth, and the story was that the lead person in it would in fact be a young child who from a difficult family would be given a job by his mother to take their top livestock person or animal and get to trade that animal for food so that they could raise the family. The person chosen to do that and lead that play was Bob Wolf. Bob Wolf was the lead in that play. The second person in that, also after it was over, they decided to give that person a role in the play too. And so that person was made the very shortest person in terms of lines in the play. In fact, it was the cow. I am the cow. And I am the only one in the class who can tell that I was exchanged for magic beans, even though he was chastised by his mother, you'll recall. But mother, even though they're beans, and she threw them out the window, they're magic beans, mother. And of course, the next day, Beanstalk was there. So a lot of fun with Bob and I thought about that. My mother was horrified. I said to her, don't worry, nobody's ever going to see me, because I had a big head, and nobody saw it. And I had 3 lines. The first line, as he took me out on the stage, moo. About 3 lines from him, then moo, moo. And then I was off the stage and gone. That was the magic of our class in those days. Now for some of those special awards. As I said when we started tonight, there were a special committee that's worked very, very hard at this particular one. But over the years, as you know, there have been 10 of these events. And the committees have been very expansive among our group. I think in the room, besides this committee now, anybody over the years who has been a part of one of these planning committees, raise your hand. Come on. See, now you get a sense that it has really been, go back to Mr. Fulgham, we've been sticking together. We know we are. Well, one more story, and then we'll talk about that awards. When I was a little boy, and I think several of you will share this same situation, I came here in 1943 as a youngster, 3-4 years old, just before kindergarten. And my grandmother had a very special set of friends. They owned a business downtown on Michigan Avenue on the East End. It was a butcher shop. And they would take me to the butcher shop, and when I walked into the butcher shop, there was sawdust on the floor. I'd go back, and they would give me a pretzel out of the back. Their name was Mr. and Mrs. Binder. Does that ring a bell with you? Yeah. Of course, they owned a farm. And the Binder farm, of course, has become a very big part of our community. And one of the things at the Binder farm that has been special over the years has been a recognition process there in terms of bricks and special awards. So tonight, as part of our special awards situation, for those of you who in fact were part of that process and allowed us to have these 10 reunions, there will be a special brick as the result of the contributions from our group and our class this year. There will be a brick placed in that says Class of 1957 Battle Creek Central High School. And there it is, and that will go into the Washington. There's also one other brick that will go. While all of us have worked hard and been a part of it, there's been one special person in the group all along who has kept us together. Remember I said we start out, we not only hold hands, but we share and we stay together and we learn about one another. And how do we do that? It's communication. And we've had a special friend who has kept us together in that special kind of relationship all of these years. In fact, I laughingly said to her yesterday, you realize that when this is over, about 2 weeks from now, you're going to get calls from people saying, when's the next newsletter going to come out? There will be a special brick from this group that says, thanks, Frida, B.C.C.H.S. class of 1957. That special award, of course, is something that she will tell you should never be done, and I want her to come up and have that with her now. She's mad about it. She's an absolute control freak, and she didn't know about this.
You said that right in front of my son-in-law.
That's exactly right.
I just want to say, it's a labor of love, and I can't do it without all of you. So just keep your emails coming, because every one of our classmates enjoys reading the news notes. Friday night, a couple of the guys came to me and said, I enjoy seeing your news notes. And I didn't even know they were reading them, because they never let me know they're on the other end. I told them, send us a little note, share it with the crowd, everybody enjoys it. It's a labor that everybody takes part in. I just copy them and paste them and send them. Thanks for the award. That really means a lot to me.
You want to get her out from behind the podium? Let's see her. One more. You can't imagine what it's been like to keep this as a secret from her, because she's had control of everything. Read my notes. Her handwriting's all over everything on this situation. Finally, as I said, besides the special award, and you saw the God Bless America. Originally, we were going to do it in an electronic version, so we were very pleased that the quartet would be willing to do it for us. We wanted to end with one other thing. And as we close, of course, a lot of us are thinking about 1965, or the 65th reunion, and where we will be. I had a good friend the other day I had lunch with on Thursday. He said, what are you going to do this weekend? And I said, well, I was going to my 60th high school reunion, and I told him all the schedule. He says, oh boy, that's a very active crew. He said, I just went to my 65th. Let me tell you a story about the difference between 60 and 65. He said, when we started, and they had a class, by the way, of 481, so they were almost identical to our size in Wisconsin. And he said, when we first started, we held it in a sports bar, best bar we could get, big TVs, we had a big band, we danced, we did all kinds of things, on and on and on each of the years. He said, this last one was held at Saturday afternoon at noon. We had roll-ups, no booze, because everybody's taking medicine, and so it can't. In fact, there's no dancing, because in fact we all have chairs. And he said, there's a break between 60 and 65. I said, not with our group. So it's funny. We joke back and forth. But as we close, I'd like to share something with you that's been a very big part of my family over the years, and it's really indicative of how fortunate we've been. Each of us have learned about our families and our grandchildren now, and they have high hopes. And we, of course, were mentored by wonderful people. In fact, tomorrow I will have breakfast with one of the ones that was our mentor, and Gary Heisloff and I were just talking about it. Jack Maudsley and his wife Norma and I will have breakfast tomorrow. And in fact, a couple of people said that they're going to be here, they'd love to horn in, but Jack is doing well. He had surgery at University of Michigan Hospital about 10 days ago, and they took another melanoma from his head. He said, I've got a hole in my head about the size of a silver dollar, and I said, nothing's going to get out of there. You've got it all wrapped up. And of course, 89 and 84, you realize how young they were when they came to lead us. And of course, Gary and I benefited because he was our tennis coach, and we were the ones to win the first championship with him, and so we felt very special there. But each of us has our own special memories, and in that, let me share with you a prayer that's an anonymous prayer that was part of my life when I was very young, and has been a part of it all along. Modified it just briefly to say it was when I, and now we put it at we. We ask God for strength that we might achieve, but we were made weak that we might learn humbly to obey. We ask for help that we might do great things, but we were given infirmity that we might do better things. We ask for riches that we might be happy, but we were given poverty that we might be wise. We ask for power that we might have the praise of many, but we were given weakness that we might feel the need of God. We ask for all things that we might enjoy life, but we were given life that we might enjoy all things. We got nothing we asked for, but everything that we had hoped for. Almost despite ourselves, our unspoken prayers were answered. We are, among all people, most richly blessed. I think that epitomises our class. As we now leave tonight, I want to thank the twins, first of all, for all of the memorabilia that's on that table over there. Make sure that you get all the samples that you want, because she doesn't want to take it back home and put it in her basement, so that's why she's doing it. And also, Jim is here to take any of the special combinations of pictures that you'd like to have. But again, one final thanks to our quartet and Dean and Don and all of you. We really appreciate what you did for us, and also to our committee. And in your prayers tonight, think about Ted and his bride, and hope that they are in their thoughts and as their health will improve. God bless all of you. Safe travels home.
I'd like to say something. I'd like to thank David for being a master of ceremony.
Chances are, 'cause I wear a silly grin the moment you come into view. Chances are you think that I'm in love with you. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Just because my composure sort of slips the moment that your lips meet mine. Chances are you think my heart's your Valentine. In the magic of moonlight, when I sigh, hold me close, dear. Chances are you believe the scars that fill the skies are in my eyes. Guess you feel you'll always be the one and only one for me. And if you think you could